Oh god, I hope this one's quicker than some of the others. So, yeah, I was considering doing like a fully scripted video for this, but I think it's just going to be easier if I do it this way and take up less time. So, obviously, as you could probably tell from the title, this is just going to be a tier list where I'm going to go through my opinions on every character in Death Battle and whether I want them to come back. And you can see the tiers right now. We have the characters I do want back, we have the ones that I would like to come back but don't have a matchup for that I really care about. We have the ones that I think probably warrant it, but I don't really want them back. And then we have the ones I don't care about and the ones I just don't want. And, of course, the not applicable, which, as a start, Boomstick and Wiz automatically have to go in not applicable, because, you know, we know they're probably going to be in a death battle against each other. But, then, like, if that happens, then why would they ever need to come back in a future episode, you know? But they haven't been on death battle, like, as combatants, so they don't count. But, you know, I could tell you, like, oh, my criteria is this and that, but it's really just my opinion. That's the criteria. How I feel. So, let's just start. So, first we have Boba Fett. Boba Fett was already in 3 episodes. 2 of them were against the same combatant. I'm going to be, like, thinking about this, like, as if this is 5 years from now. So, any character that was in Death Battle recently will not be treated any differently to, say, like, a combatant from Season 1. So, Boba Fett, I don't really think he needs to come back, because the thing with Boba Fett, he doesn't bring anything particularly unique anymore, because the things that he's brought, well, he brought them, and now, if I wanted a Star Wars character who doesn't have the Force, I would go with anyone else, because the thing is that what I really would like is a character without the Force and without a lightsaber, to explore other parts of Star Wars, and how they would scale them in Death Battle. And while we did get some idea of how they would scale certain things outside of Force users with Boba Fett and Boba Fett vs. Predator, that was also very vaguely done. It was very weird, but I just don't think Boba Fett needs to come back. My computer is lagging for some reason. Then we have Samus. Samus was only in 2 episodes, both against the same opponent. Since those episodes, she's had Metroid Dread, and she's definitely slated to have more games in the future. And honestly, those episodes definitely didn't do her much justice in terms of her arsenal. Throughout, she didn't use most of her beam options. She didn't use, like, anything from Metroid Prime, to my knowledge, that's unique to those games. Frankly, she only used, like, 1 suit across both of them. Like, both of them, she just used the Varia suit and, of course, Zero's suit, but that doesn't really count. I haven't played most of the Metroid games, and I don't think I finished any of them other than Fusion, but so I don't, like, know or even remember from Fusion whether or not she can just switch suits on the fly, but regardless, I definitely think that Samus does warrant it. Do I have a matchup I like for her? I do like Samus versus Master Chief. I do like the wildcard pick of Samus versus Kissy Baraduke. And I'm fairly certain there are, like, other cool... there's Mega Man X, which I do like as a matchup too, so yeah, I'm gonna say the Samus is the first one that I think, yeah, she warrants it. I would love her to come back. And it would be cool to see the first winner of Death Battle come back in the future, to see if she can continue her streak, you know? Akuma. Akuma was, like both of those characters in multiple episodes. He was in both versus Shang Tsung and versus Shao Kahn. The Shao Kahn one was rather recent and did give a pretty good dive into his scaling, stats, and abilities. A very good analysis for Akuma, in my opinion. At least looking back. I don't know what my opinion was when I first watched it, but looking back, it's pretty good analysis for Akuma. In both episodes, he did use a decent amount of his stuff. I guess, like, while I wasn't crazy about either animation... my throat. Well, I wasn't crazy about either animation. I think that both of them together did use a lot of the stuff I would want to see from him. I guess the most I could want is an episode where, like, he does some really crazy, like, insane stuff, because, like, Akuma is, like, one of the highest scale characters in Street Fighter. He's around punching islands and shit, and that would be cool to see. I just... I guess I need... see, my keyboard wasn't plugged in, but then I quickly thought there's a good chance that I could need it if I forgot a tier. So, I'm gonna add a row here. and it's going to be, has matchups I like, but I'm not advocating for them, I guess. That's too clunky. But I'm not begging, you know? Like, okay, that'll do. And now, that bothers me. That bothers me greatly. Why have I done this? I gotta... I'm gonna painstakingly go through and change all these, because that is really bothering me. And my monkey brain. That's the one. Okay, so that's gonna be Akuma, because he does have matchups I like. He's got Rao from Fist of the North Star. Some of the other options I don't know well enough to really say I care, like Yujiro, but at least like it aesthetically is pretty cool. I'm not begging for Akuma to come back, but there are matchups I do like for if he does. Shang Tsung is just going straight to the top. I would love for Shang Tsung to come back. If there's any Mortal Kombat character I want back, or in Death Battle at all, it would be Shang Tsung, because not only is his first episode a long time ago, which means that not only has he gotten a lot of new media, and by that I just mean Mortal Kombat 11, which finally gave him like a proper personality. Not to say he didn't have a personality in Mortal Kombat 9 or the original era, it's just that I think 11, with Aftermath, really boosted him up. I haven't played Mortal Kombat 1 yet. I do have it on PS5, I just haven't gotten around to playing it. I think, matchup-wise, it's got to be Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. I think that's a really cool matchup. It vibes like hell, and I think Shang Tsung would be very interesting to come in, because like when it comes to like the cosmic scaling of Mortal Kombat, I'm fairly certain we're going to get that with Liu Kang first, but, well, Liu Kang's not on Death Battle yet, so right now the door is still open, but who knows? And, you know, in 5 years' time there could be more Mortal Kombat games, he could get more to him, he could also not, but, you know, we never know what's going to happen in the future. But I would love to see Shang Tsung back currently to give us an episode against Kefka. And he has other matchups I'm sure are popular. I don't want versus M. Bison. I feel like that's just Shao Kahn versus Akuma, the sequel, where the guys that they originally beat up fight each other. And if Bison's going to come back, you know, we'll talk about them when we get to Bison. Rogue. I don't care. I can't put her in Nah, because I'm not actively against Rogue coming back, because I definitely think that, you know, first Marvel character in Death Battle probably warrants another look at, and she is a cool character, I do like her. It's just, I don't care enough, you know? I don't think she necessarily warrants it, because I don't know enough about the comics to know if, like, she's gotten too much new. Though she definitely could use a good analysis, that'd be nice. Yeah, I just don't care. Wonder Woman's going straight in Nah. She's got 3 episodes. None of them are great, definitely not matching the quality I'd want for a character as big as Wonder Woman, and who I do like as much as Wonder Woman, but she's got 2.5 episodes, I guess. Let's be perfectly honest. She-Ra vs. Wonder Woman was a completely unique animation, but Wonder Woman's analysis was basically just the same one from vs. Thor. It was not even well disguised. Then we go into Goomba and Koopa, just straight up no. I mean, I guess I'm going to put that in as matchups I like, but I'm not begging, because I do find Goomba versus Karibo from Yu-Gi-Oh! To be really funny. But I'm not here advocating that we need that to come in. And Koopa, no. I don't think we need an episode with Koopa. That one I don't think I need to explain too much. Hagar. I don't care. I definitely don't. He hasn't gotten enough episodes, as in more than one, for me to say that he definitely doesn't deserve to come back, and I also don't know enough to say he warrants coming back. It's just, I don't care if he comes back or not. Zangief? Because the thing with Zangief is that we have a lot of Street Fighter episodes, right? And if we got more, I would like a new character, like Juri, or I was gonna say Seth, but I don't really give a shit about Seth. A Ken run back would be okay, I guess. I wouldn't hate a Rashid episode, maybe? Oh, and Guile. It's a pretty big name that's not been on Death Battle, so I don't think, of all characters, Zangief needs to come back. I guess it would be a case of, like, he probably does warrant it, right? Because he has got new stuff. But then wouldn't I put Hagar... Oh, no, because Hagar hasn't really got anything new. since his episode. But, like, would I not put Hagar in the same tier as Zangief? Is that, like, not fair? I guess the difference is that I care more about Zangief than I care about Hagar, so that's the main difference maker there. Oh, and the Ninja Turtles. See, the problem with Ninja Turtles, the way they composite them, the Ninja Turtles are fairly different characters in each incarnation, which if you watch enough Turtles you would notice. Like, Leonardo is not the same between 87, 03, 012, 03, 2012, and Rise. He's a different character almost entirely between them, beyond being this, I can't even say beyond being the serious one, because he's not the serious one in Rise. From the little I've watched, he definitely, I think, probably developed to that. I need to finish watching Rise, but like, look at Raphael. He's hugely different between versions. So it's a case of, like, how do you tackle them? So I think Leonardo is just a no. He's gotten a comeback episode. It was a fine episode. It was the Turtles rivalry. I wouldn't hate Leonardo versus Daredevil, but at the same time, as much as that rivalry is interesting to me, just do Raphael versus Elektra if you were going to. Which, even then, I'm not crazy about Raphael versus Elektra. Or I guess Stick versus Splinter. Or the hand versus the foot. But again, none of them I'm really crazy about. So for Michelangelo, he's definitely got to be... I don't want him back, because there's no matchups for him that really, like, scream to me. Even though he is probably the most consistently characterized of the Turtles across incarnations. But he definitely warrants a comeback. He definitely warrants an episode that gives him some fucking respect. As for Donatello and Raphael, I think they're just in the case of, like... I don't like any of Donnie's matchups that much, except, I guess, Beast from X-Men. But it's just a case of, like... It's not going to be the versions of the Turtles that I care about, but I can't put them in no. They probably do... I'm going to put them in they warrant it, because they only had, like, the Battle Royale. There's just no matchups I particularly care for. There's nothing, like, that makes me scream, oh, I want that. Zitz is... I do not care about Zitz. Yeah, I don't care. Riptor, I don't care. Yoshi... Ooh, Yoshi. So... Yoshi does have a lot of interesting matchups. There is, of course, Kirby, and there is, of course, Chocobo from Final Fantasy. One of which tackles Yoshi from the perspective of a single character. The other one as more of the Yoshi species as a whole. So two very interesting matchups that look at him from different perspectives. I can't necessarily say I'm dying for Yoshi to come back. I would probably... I'll put Yoshi in. Has matchups I like, but I'm not really begging for Yoshi to come back. Felicia! Darkstalkers has, what, 2 episodes? I want to say. One of which was kind of recent, but I don't know how they would scale Felicia. So that could be something interesting and new, but, like, Darkstalkers hasn't had anything new, as far as I'm aware. And I think that's the joke, is that Capcom have kind of left Darkstalkers to die, and... until they transferred to 3D, Morrigan had the same sprites in every single game that she was in. And I guess she still does, because 3D is not sprites, but, like, at least it looked different. So, I'm just trying to think. For Felicia, I don't care much about Felicia. I'm just confirming I don't care. And Taokaka, nah. I like Taokaka well enough, but, like, the thing is that Felicia I don't know well enough to say that there's definitely no purpose for her to come back. Taokaka, I know her well enough to go. She got an episode that basically tackled all that she needed, all that needed to be tackled. So yeah, Kratos. Yeah. See, I don't like Kratos Azura, but at least I think that the Kratos analysis could be extremely good if it tackled him the right way, because I think Kratos has gotten a lot since his last episode, in the form of the new era that has really altered his character in a way that I like. I think that it's a good direction to take his character, focusing on, like, really pointing out the flaws with what he did, but then making him someone who's able to actually accept it and move beyond his trauma. Which, you know, some people think that makes him less manly, and I think that they're fucking stupid, because there's nothing unmanly about accepting who you are and being able to move past a traumatic history. I do have matchups I like for him. I have a matchup I like for him. I will not say it, because people always like to get on my case by the fact that I like the matchup. But, yeah. I definitely think Kratos warrants it, and I would like him to come back, and I'm actually going to put Spawn in the same. His analysis definitely did not do him justice. There's a lot you could do with Spawn, and yeah, Ghost Rider. Spawn versus Ghost Rider, that's the matchup. He has other matchups. I don't care for Demi-Fiend. I love Shin Megami Tensei 3. None of that is because of Demi-Fiend. Demi-Fiend is such a blank nothing of a character. Though at least I would get some entertainment out of, hey, it's the thing I know from Shin Megami Tensei 3. Bomberman. Yeah, whoa. Okay. Okay. I think Bomberman warrants coming back. I don't care enough about Bomberman to be like, yeah, I definitely want him to come back. And I definitely don't have a matchup that I care about for him. But Bomberman definitely deserves to come back. He did not have a great showing. They did not do the man justice in his first episode. Simple as that. Dig Dug, don't care. Shadow, no. Shadow's had 3 episodes, 2 of which were watchable, 1 of which was not. But I definitely think with Shadow vs. Ryuko, they did all they needed to with him. They got a good animation that was serious and entertaining enough. Shadow was not the downside to that episode. And his analysis was fine. I think they did Shadow fine. I think... There's going to be a lot of me saying I think, and probably already has been, but I think that with Sonic, you could definitely do more new characters, or even bring back characters who haven't come back 3 times. And Vegeta, in the same boat. I don't think Vegeta needs to come back. He's gotten 2 episodes. 1 was funny. 1 was not. Both were good. Why bring Vegeta back? If you're going to do more Dragon Ball, bring in someone very different to your standard Saiyan punch guy. And we're going to put Mario and Sonic in the no tier as well. I know people love Sonic versus Goku. I do not care for it. But, you know, if you like it, then feel free to. I would rather Archie Sonic versus Xeno Goku. Because if you're going to do it, at least go all the way. But the thing is, I don't really care to see them fight anyone other than each other. And I don't really care to see them come back. There are so many characters from Mario and Sonic that could come in. It's raining. Hopefully that's not going to be picked up too badly on the mic. But I am louder than the rain. Because I am me. Real people, going to go in not applicable. Same with the Death Battle t-shirt and all t-shirts. Harry Potter, nah. I don't really think he warrants it. I think there are other characters in the Wizarding World that warrant it more. I'm mostly thinking of Dumbledore, maybe Voldemort, if they were going to bring Wizarding World back. I don't like any of Harry's matchups. I guess the most is that they really didn't understand Harry, in the sense of, like, they portrayed Avada Kedavra as a blast instead of a flash of light that instantly kills you, and they were like, oh, he's so good at non-verbal magic, but to my knowledge in the books, that's, like, an explicitly not his, like, forte. Just shooting without saying anything. Like, that's one of his weaknesses, to my memory. I haven't read the books in a long time, and in fact, I don't think I've ever fully read all of them. I've read chunks of them. But I don't think Harry needs to come back at all. Luke, I think, is a case of... There are matchups I like for Luke, and some that I don't, but I'm not really begging to see him come back, because again, with Star Wars, I just want a non-Force user, non-lightsaber user. Give me, like, Captain Rex, or something like that. And if they're gonna do a lightsaber Force user, make it someone who's, like, super different, or super out there as a choice. Like, no one would expect Kit Fisto. But I would like it because Kit Fisto is such a cool character. Or Pong Krell, because no one fights like Pong Krell, or even Darth Maul. Because while they are still a Force user with a lightsaber, the lightsabers are very different to what you normally get. Or even Kylo Ren, because at least then you'll be tackling a level of scaling that we've not seen on Death Battle with Star Wars. We've not seen canon exclusive scaling. Though I guess they could just use Darth Vader survived the planet blowing up. Even though that feat's not actually planet level, to my knowledge, the way it was, like, the calculation is not planet level. Use that for Kylo. I imagine you could find a way to scale him to Vader somehow. Or not. I don't care. Chun-Li. I do not have a matchup I like for Chun-Li, but I would love to see her back. I love her. She's amazing. Love to see good Chinese representation as opposed to what we normally get. Which I know a lot of people probably think, well, Chinese representation is normally perfectly fine. As a Chinaman. No, not really. But, you know, most people don't care. And you know what? To a lot of extent, I don't even care either. But I love Chun-Li. But she doesn't really have any matchups I like. There's ones that focus on her being like a cop. There's ones that focus on her being just a woman who's really strong. There's, of course, the normal fighting game character who is the same ethnicity sort of matchups. But there's none that really interest me. But I would like to see her back if they could find a matchup that's good. Mai Shiranui. Don't care. Yeah, I don't care. I like what I know of her, but I definitely do not care. I do have a King of Fighters game on PlayStation 4 now, and I will probably play it sometime in the future, so maybe I'll get to know her from that more, but, you know. Rainbow Dash. Now that I have watched all of My Little Pony, what do I think of Rainbow Dash's chances? She has matchups I like, I'm not being. I like Rainbow Dash versus Sonic. To an extent, but you know, as you can tell, I don't really care to have Sonic back. It's definitely a matchup I like more for Rainbow Dash, but also if they're gonna do My Little Pony, bring in someone different. Maybe not Applejack, because that's the one that I see a lot of people bring up is Applejack and Rarity. I would think like T-Rex, which is the one I see brought up most, T-Rex versus Moro. I'm in that for T-Rex, or T-Rex versus Kai from Kung Fu Panda 3. That would be really cool, but let's be honest, T-Rex kind of mops both of them at the same time. Is there anyone else? I guess I wouldn't mind Queen Chrysalis. I guess Sunset Shimmer would be great, but I don't think they would ever tackle Equestria Girls stuff. Yeah, I guess they could if they wanted to scale like to the Sirens and stuff, but anyone who scales to the Sirens probably already scales to the Pillars of Equestria, like unless you are specifically Sunset, who only scales to the Sirens. But yeah, Starscream, G1 Starscream I would like back, but aside from Metal Face, which is cool, but you know, the people I know who know Xenoblade tell me that Metal Face has like nothing going on, and to that extent, I think, if that's really the case, how much do I want him to fight Starscream? So, because Starscream's got a lot of stuff, so it's a case of I would like him back, but doesn't have a matchup I'm crazy about. I do want to play Xenoblade if I could ever get my hands on a physical copy, because I don't like digital only. I love physical media, and I would love to play it. There's probably no game I've been hunting as long as Xenoblade, other than a proper PS3 copy of Metal Gear Rising, or the Armada Transformers game. Those are the three games that I've been hunting for the longest time. Have not found physically. Yeah, physically anywhere where I live. Doom Guy. That's a toughie. At minimum, he's there. At minimum. There's no way he isn't, like, absolutely warranted, because he's gone through a complete reinvention with Doom and Doom Eternal, and the thing is, do I have a matchup I like for him? Because I'm not crazy about a Chief rematch. I guess I'm a bit more positive on it, because it seems like a lot of the people who wanted it just so that Slayer could win have kind of fallen off. Like, that group of people has really died down over time, so now it's mostly just the people who like the matchup for its own merits and think it would be like a cool fight to see come back. So that side of it is definitely not weighing against me. It's just, I have a hard time visualizing being able to take Chief actually matching Slayer in any regard seriously. And I don't care for Slayer versus Samus. That is like the worst of that matchup triangle. It's the absolute worst one. There's Tadano from Shin Megami Tensei. Don't care. There's like Khanlan Betrayer and Guilliman from Warhammer 40k. I do not think people understand how little visual media a lot of 40k characters have. There seems to be a lot of matchups made by people who don't know 40k, who are just like, here's a cool idea, and never realize the problems with like visualizing it. Like, you could probably manage some of the characters who make good appearances in Hammer and Bolt or whatever it's called, like Trazen. I think you could do, because he's got a decent amount of footage from that you could like manipulate to visualize as an episode. But you'd really want to focus on characters like Titus and Gabriel Angelos, who have a lot of visual media, because for the most part, most 140k characters have a handful of PNGs scanned from codexes, and that's really it. And maybe some box art. So there's really not a lot to go with, and that goes true for Guilliman and Khan. I don't know what Khan has. He might have been in Hammer and Bolter. I have not seen all of that show because it's not very good. And like aside from, like, I think it's just a matter of like, yeah, I would like Doomslayer to come back, but I don't have a matchup that I'm crazy for. But if it was, and it will be, Slayer versus Chief, I'm not complaining. And you know, I'm gonna say that with Chief, it's also a case of like, I want him back, but there's not a, no, with Chief it's like, absolutely, I do like Chief versus Samus, and I am okay with Chief versus Doomslayer, so it's not a case of like, I'm not crazy about any of his matchups, because I do like them both for him. Fuck it. You know what, I'm gonna be generous, because the fact that we seem to have gotten rid of a lot of the crowd that only want Chief Slayer to force Slayer to win. Most of that crowd's gone now, from what I've seen, so I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna put up the top. I'm okay with Chief Slayer 2. It's not something I'm crazy about. I'm crazy about Eggman versus Bowser, though. Would love to see that. When we get to Bowser, he's going at the top. We're gonna bring a character back from Sonic for a second go, or more. It's gonna be Eggman, because like Eggman's full of personality. He's got a lot of new tech. I would be interested in seeing Sage worked into the fight if possible. I guess the problem with Eggman Bowser is, like, obviously we'd be setting up ourselves for disappointment if we ever talked about what we want to see in the episode. Beyond, like, I would like to see Fury Bowser. I would like to see the Death Egg. That's it. Like, when it comes to matchups that obviously would require a huge amount of budget, I try to go in with, like, those kind of expectations. There's, like, two things that I want to see that are likely. As for Wily, I don't want him back, but he probably does warrant coming back. This is where the older season element is going to be a big deal for some characters, I guess, is that while I'm going to be treating this as if this is 5 years in the future, so recency will not play a part, there is the fact that a modern episode is more likely to have a good analysis for a character than the old one. So Wily, I think, warrants coming back, but I'm not too crazy. Yeah, I'm going to put Peach and Zelda in the same. I don't really want them back, but they probably do warrant coming back more than some of the others. Raiden. Ooh, okay, so he's gone through a complete reinvention as well with Mortal 1 Combat, but I don't necessarily think that, like, I don't care for that version to come in, and while I do like him well enough in the NetherRealm era, I think it's just going to be a case of, I don't care. I can't put him in no, because it's a thing of, now, he probably does warrant it, because since then, X and 11 have done a lot to alter how his character is perceived, but I just don't care to see him back. Thor, no. He's got 3 episodes. 2 of them are pretty damn good. 1 of them is not. Though there are things I like in Wonder Woman vs. Thor. I don't think he needs to come back. I think he's good to be left there. Cloud as well. Nah. He got his rematch with Link, and Link, no. If you were to do Link, it would be if you did a specific version, but this is like specifically like a composite Link, not like Hero of the Wilds Link specifically. I would love to see a matchup for Hyrule Warriors Link, because that's the Zelda game I've probably played the most, strangely enough, because I had a lot of fun playing it with a mate of mine back in the day on the Wii U, and it was a fucking blast. But a very repetitive game, but you with those kind of games, you kind of just go into it expecting that. Batman, no. Spider-Man, I don't have any matchups I'm crazy about for Spider-Man. I would love to see him back, especially that, you know, nowadays I've really fully bought into the Spider-Man hype. I get it now. I understand. Danny DeVito gifted. But there is Spider-Man Ladybug. I would like to see that, because I know it would make a friend of mine very happy. But aside from that, it's like I got no personal investment in any of his matchups. I'm not crazy about any of them. Blanca? Nah. Definitely don't think he needs to come back. I think his episode is, like, the unpopular opinion I have for liking an episode everyone doesn't, is that I think Pikachu Blanca is really fun. Outside of the ending, which is funny, but a bit abrupt. In a good way, I guess, but I'm gonna count Pikachu as like representing Ash in general, in which case, absolutely, bring back Pikachu with Ash to fight Yugi. Goku Superman, no, they've had 3 episodes, and while it would be cool to see them bring them back, if this was Xeno Goku, oh, I guess it could, wait, is Xeno Goku actually on this? Because they did kind of use him. No, Xeno Goku's not on this list, because they did kind of use him, but if you would count this as Xeno Goku, it would be a case of like, sure, but at the same time, I guess I'm not really, nah, yeah, leave it. He-Man has matchups I like, but I'm not begging. Actually, no, I'm going to put, because the matchup in particular is He-Man versus Shazam. He-Man is not the part of that lets it down. Actually, no, I guess thinking about it, the thing that I would want most with He-Man is to play into, like, the same way he was in... Well, no, I wouldn't want it to play into the same way as He-Man Lion-O, because I wanted to tackle the other sides of his character, beyond the campy side. So, while I would like the campiness, that would only be, like, an addition. So, you know, I would love He-Man to come back. Absolutely. But the problem would be that his matchup opponent, Shazam, is going to go into has matchups I like, but I'm not begging. Don't care about Lion-O. Still haven't seen Thundercats. M. Bison. So this is where I bring up M. Bison versus Rugal, I guess is the one that I would like. I don't care much for Rugal, but it definitely seems more interesting than M. Bison versus Shang Tsung. But do I think that M. Bison needs to come back? I would say he probably warrants coming back. Oh no, because I don't know Rugal enough to say like I definitely like it. I don't know if I would need M. Bison to come back, because again, there's like several other Street Fighter characters I think warrant it more. But I do think he probably does warrant it, because they didn't really tackle a lot of him. It's just that I don't care if he comes back or not. Shao Kahn, 2 episodes. The last episode did him fine. Don't think he needs more. Ryu Hayabusa. Yeah, I don't care, but he probably does warrant it. I imagine they didn't tackle him the best back in Season 2, and that there's a lot they left on the table. Especially for scaling, and I definitely think that, you know, a 3D fight with Ryu Hayabusa could go absolutely wild. Anyone remember that old Kratos versus Ryu animation? That was like a thing. I'm thinking about that right now, but yeah, he probably does warrant coming back. It's just I don't care personally. Strider I don't think's had any new games, so I'm going to put him in don't care. Unlike with Ryu, where like definitely there's... Well, I don't know if Ryu's gotten any new games, actually. But the thing is that with Ryu, you can tackle him in a 3D fight, and it would fit. I don't know if I need Strider in a 3D fight. Oh, wait. If Ryu hasn't got any new games, you could argue that Strider's gotten more stuff with Ziku in Street Fighter. But... yeah, okay, fine. I'll be fair. Don't want, but he probably warrants it. Ivy. No. I would like Soul Calibur back, but not through Ivy. Black Orchid. Don't care. I don't care about her enough to be able to say necessarily if I think it's an outright no. Bucky O'Hare? I don't know Bucky well enough, but just because of the fact that it would be an absolute wild card to see Bucky as a returner, because he would continue to be the most obscure character Death Battle's ever used. I would love to see him back, because we don't get obscurity very often at all. In fact, the closest we got recently is the biggest light novel franchise in the world. Because in the West, it's not super well known compared to its competitors, Slimy Sakai and Sword Art Online. Actually, I think Slimy Sakai might have overtaken it now. I'll have to double check, but I know it was like hot on the heels of it. But yeah. Fox McCloud. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I would like Fox to come back, specifically in the sense of Star Fox as a whole, and because I would like to see a fight that, like a ship fight with the Arwing. And I think the best way to do that would be to tackle it with Fox as the character you're looking at, because then you can actually focus on the story as well, instead of just looking at a piece of machinery. Which could be interesting if they were like a Star Wars Star Trek channel that does that on the regular and are able to like talk about all the specifications in a way, but that sort of content I don't think fits Death Battle well. So, I don't really have a matchup I care. I guess there is Rogue Squadron, but Star Fox is not carrying, or Star Fox isn't carrying Oh, no. Rogue Squadron isn't carrying me enough to care about Star Fox here, but I do think having Fox back and focusing on the ships could be interesting for an episode. Though at that point, do like, oh, what's the matchup? Gallagher versus Gradius. Like, those ships. Vic Viper and... I forget the name of the other one right now. But do that. That would be cool. RoboCop. RoboCop has matchups I like. He has Judge Dredd, but I'm not begging to see him back. Especially because Dredd is probably going to fight Punisher. Terminator. Nah, there's nothing I like for him. I don't think the Terminator needs to come back. I would rather see an alternate form like the T-1000. But... Or honestly, like a matchup with Sarah Connor. Oh yeah, Sarah Connor versus Ellen Ripley. That would be the one I'd want to see if they brought Terminator back. So, yeah, I don't think the Terminator himself needs to come back. Luigi! I would love Luigi to come back. I don't care about any of his matchups, like fucking Shaggy, Pac-Man, Tails 2. I don't care for any of them, but I would like to see Luigi. I would like to see him back, because unlike a lot of the other Mario characters, he definitely did not get respect in his episode. And I definitely care about him more than Peach. He should definitely fight FNAF. Tails! I don't really want Tails back, but he probably does warrant it. He definitely didn't have the best episode, just like the Luigi. Wait, why is Mewtwo up here? Oh, is he up here because of Mewtwo versus Vegeta? That would make sense to me, yeah. Mewtwo, yeah, I would love Mewtwo to come back. I love Mewtwo, like, specifically looking at, like, the anime one, because, like, in the games, how many Pokemon in the games have a personality beyond, like, Koraidon, and stuff like that, but Mewtwo, Blackwall Greymon, that's the one for me. Give me Mewtwo versus Blackwall Greymon. He probably has other matchups. I know there's Shadow rematch, but the thing is, I don't think Shadow needs to come back. I would like Mewtwo to come back. I would like to see him in an episode. I would like to see him done well, because I love me Mewtwo. Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur, you're all going nah. If we want to get more wild Pokemon, please just make it, like, not Gen 1. Okay, Folgore. Do I do it for the... I'm gonna do it for the meme. Give us Folgore versus Sector 2. I'm not begging for it, but I love me some Folgore versus Sector 2. Gamera. No, I don't really have anything that I like for Gamera as a comeback. I don't need Gamera versus Godzilla 2. It would be shorter, and it would not have as many cool references and, like, fun things in it compared to the original. Godzilla, though... He has Ultraman. Now, I definitely am more of an Ultraman Zone Fighter guy, but I can acknowledge that if Godzilla was to come back, the only matchup that I would even remotely like for him is Ultraman. Because his other matchups suck. Nemesis doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about to do a whole episode against him. King Kong, the strongest version of Kong is, no matter what you do, one that scales to a version of Godzilla that's not the strongest Godzilla. And like Bowser, why would you put him against another giant fire-breathing flying turtle and it's just not the one that has a rivalry with him? I don't get it. So yeah, just and Hulk, no, I don't like Godzilla Hulk at all. Captain America, absolutely. Captain America versus Kamen Rider, even if that matchup didn't exist, he would still go in want but don't have a matchup I like. For one of the biggest characters in all of Marvel, he definitely deserves better than a matchup, or than an episode like what he got. Batman vs. Cap is fine as a matchup, but he definitely deserves better than the episode he got. Absolutely. Would love to see him, like, get that redemption arc. Gundam Epion. Now, okay, so, how do I tackle this? I guess I would just put them together, because they're kind of oh, wait, no, with these two, with Epion and Zex, they're a bit indistinguishable. I like Epion versus Armada Starscream, but I'm not begging for it to come back. I'm not begging for him to come back. There's a lot you could do with Gundam. You could do an episode for like every Gundam timeline, and they would all be unrelated and they'd all be interesting. As for as for Tommy, for the Tiger Zord, I do like the Tiger Zord versus Gal Gaigar, just because like it's a big white mech cat that turns into a robot and then combines with these other things into a super mecha form. It's so cool to me, but I'm not dying for it specifically. As for Tommy himself, though, it's definitely going to be in the case of, like, I'm not a Power Rangers guy, but Tommy is the one that I have the most interest in. He would be, like, I don't care for any of his matchups, but I would love to see him back, especially to honor his late actor, with an awesome animation, because, like, didn't he star in some Superpower Beatdowns? Like, he had an interest in this sort of stuff, like, this sort of versus stuff. I would love to see just a love letter to him, to the character, and I guess if you want to count Dracon as the same, he would go in absolutely want, because Dracon versus Zeo, Omar Zeo, is awesome. But I would, if they're going to do another Mighty Morphin episode, make it with Tommy outside of the mech, because to my knowledge, Tommy has the most to talk about on his own. Ryu, he's got 2 episodes. I needed to think about that for a second. They're both really good. Both tackle 2D and 3D as best as I would want, so no, don't need Ryu back. He's got 2 bangers, which just has shit endings in both regards, but 2 banger episodes that I don't need him to come back to. Scorpion. You know what? I would like to see Scorpion back, but I don't care. Oh no, wait, no. I think Scorpion vs. Wolf is cool, and I love Scorpion vs. Yoshimitsu. There are like 2 matchups for him that I really like. Well, one matchup for him that I really like, one that I never played Sekiro, but it seems cool. So yeah, Scorpion, absolutely. Would love to see you back. I know I said if it was anyone in Mortal Kombat, it would just be Shang Tsung, but I clearly just forgot about Scorpion, because Scorpion is the best character in the NetherRealm saga in terms of his character arc. Overall, I would still say Johnny was definitely done better, but Scorpion is up there as one of the few that like was really done well outside of his death. So I guess like Ryu, absolute banger with a shit ending. Yeah, not like, just like the idea is cool of like Scorpion, like Hanzo sacrifices himself to his past self, who's like still driven by blind vengeance, can see the error of his ways. That's a cool ending, but it should have been it should have been executed better. Deadpool, no. Deathstroke. I looked away for a second. Where did he go? Wait, what? I like looked away because I heard a noise, and then Deathstroke just vanished when I looked back. Did I put him somewhere? Oh my god, I feel like such an idiot. I have just... Oh, there he is. Deathstroke, don't care. I can't for sure say no, because he probably has some interesting matchups, he probably has some interesting stuff to talk about if he came back. It's just, I don't care enough to see him back. Boo? No. Kirby? Yeah, I would like to see Kirby back. He doesn't have any matchups I'm like crazy about, but I would like to see the Curbster come back. Mostly because Huan would love it, and I know the episode definitely wouldn't live up to the Kirby vs. Majin Buu in terms of like the amount of stuff used, but I definitely think it could still be done really fun. Especially because, you know, with Kirby you don't need to worry about doing character moments. Ragnar. Yeah, I don't really want him back, but he probably does warrant it, because BlazBlue got a raw deal the first time. And unlike Tao Kaka, he is, like, intrinsically linked to a lot of the lore. The thing is that he definitely, like, there's tons of stuff that you can talk about with him, but there's a lot of other characters that you could do instead that also could rectify their horrible understanding of the story and lore. Soul Bad Guy as well, I think, is a case of, like, he probably does warrant coming back, even though he got done better than Ragnar, but I just don't care for any of his matchups. I don't really need him specifically to come back. Guilty Gear's got a lot of cool characters. You could do there are multiple BlazBlue versus Guilty Gear matchups that could rectify the problems with that episode on its own without just repeating the characters. Gara, nah, he definitely warrants it, but I just don't care if he comes back or not. As for Toph though, nah, we got plenty of Avatar episodes that look into the exact scaling she would have. I don't know where Gara scales, so the difference is, I guess, that Gara has a lot more unique to talk about, while with Toph, it's like, sure, she could come back, and you would have some Earthbang to talk about, and it would be cool to see a non-Avatar character from Last Airbender again, but then you could always just do Katara instead. I just don't think Toph really warrants coming back again. No. Sega to Sanshiro. Nah. I don't need Segata back. I love Segata Sanshiro, but when it comes to like ridiculous, over-the-top commercial characters, do like Mr. Clean versus Old Spice guy. That's like, do that instead. That's a lot more fun than either of them versus Segata. Guts, no, he came back. He got a good episode. Actually, no, hold on. Has a matchup I like. I would love to see Guts versus Claire, but actually, we are thinking about this as if 5 years in the future. So yeah, actually, absolutely want, because I think in 5 years I would be ready for Guts to come back. He will have more stuff from the manga. Yeah, I definitely think Guts versus Claire within 5 years or so would be really cool to see. So yeah, absolutely want. I nearly forgot about my own rules for a second there. Nightmare. Absolutely want, because I'm including Siegfried among this as well. But even without Siegfried, I would love to see Nightmare come back. Like, any of his opponents, like Lich King and all that, would be cool to see. It's just a matter of, like, if there's any Soul Calibur character, if either of the Soul Calibur characters they were to bring back that I would want to see, it would be Nightmare. Iron Man, no. Iron Man Batman was the perfect out for him. He got everything. It was really cool. Like, Batman was the one who got the raw deal on that. So Iron Man definitely got everything I'd want. Both episodes do everything I'd want from an Iron Man episode. Same with Lex. I don't think he needs to come back. Beast? Ooh. I don't want him to come back, but of all the X-Men, he's probably the one who warrants it the most, because he was not Beast in that episode. Because Beast is such an interesting character, and they just didn't tackle him at all in the fight. The analysis, I think, was fine, because it definitely understood him, but the fight did not. Goliath, I don't care. I can't say for sure if he warrants coming back, because I don't know how well he was tackled in his episode, because I have not seen all the gargoyles. I do want to, though, in some time in the future, but I don't know if he was tackled well. If he was, then yeah, he doesn't need to come back. Though I guess it would be the same situation as like with Beast. Yeah, fine. Probably warrants it as much as Beast. Solid Snake and Sam Fisher. Both of you get a nice hard no. You do not need to come back. And you know what? Vader and Doom, you also. Guess what? Lucky fellas. You get to go in the no. Don't come back. You got the episodes. Doom, I definitely think you could argue to bring back with an episode that focuses more on his magical abilities. Because I think between the episodes, he used almost none of his actual magic. You know what? Okay. Just because of that, I think Doom is one of those cases where he probably warrants coming back. Because unlike with Vader, who you got everything you could ever want from a Vader episode in versus Obito, and Snake and Sam, who you got everything you could ever want from a Snake or Sam episode from that one, or Lex and Iron Man, where you got everything you could ever want. With Doom, it's a case like if you wanted to see Doom as a magician on the level of nearly being the Sorcerer Supreme, like basically qualifying for that level, and he never uses magic in basically any point in his actual episodes, I can understand being annoyed by that and wanting a Doom episode that focuses on his magical powers. So, I can understand that. It's just I don't want him back, but I can see the argument of like, yeah, he probably does warrant that chance. Donkey Kong. I would love DK to come back, but especially focusing on the scaling within just his series, which I know would probably just be the Moon Punch, but it would be so cool. I just don't really care for any of his matchups at all. Don't like any of them all that much. Knuckles, I don't really want... Oh, he definitely warrants it. You know, okay, Knuckles definitely warrants it to get an episode that is a bit better for him as a character, but I don't like any of his matchups. Raiden, nah. Nah, he's got a matchup I like. I like Raiden versus A2 from Nier Automata, but I'm not begging for him to come back. And Wolverine, absolutely. I guess... See, now I'm thinking, because I love Wolverine Raiden. Yeah, okay, I would like Wolverine Bigby Wolf. I think it's a cool matchup. I definitely think that they could have done better on a versus sense. Character-wise, I actually think they tackled Wolverine fine, but there's definitely more you... I think they would definitely tackle him better today. Yeah, I'd like to see Wolverine Bigby in the future. I would totally be okay with that. Dan, no. Hercule, no. Perfect episode for them both. They'd never live up to it, like, at all. I definitely think they got done best. Tifa, I like Tifa, but I don't think she needs to come back. In fact, I think Sephiroth is going to end up in this tier 2. I would like to see a Final Fantasy that's not 7, even if it has to be Lightning versus Shulk. At least it would be a Final Fantasy that's not 7. Yang, nah, I don't think she warrants it. She got overplayed in her episode. Not in terms of, like, versus stats, because, like, versus stats-wise, she was still underplayed, but, like, she got hyped up a lot. She got everything you could ever want from a Yang episode, I think. I think when you're bringing back Team Ruby, don't bother. Just bring Ruby in. Astro Boy. Don't care. I don't know if I can say... I don't really know if I can say that he warrants coming back, but I just don't care if he does or not. And as for Mega Man, nah, I don't need him back. Same with Green Arrow. That's not the right place. Same with Hawkeye. Everything you'd ever want in a Green Arrow or Hawkeye episode is in Green Arrow vs. Hawkeye. It's a perfectly fine episode. Maybe a little bit underrated even, because everyone seems to just sort of treat it as if it's like a non-event of an episode. It's got a lot of fun moments, and it's a very fun dynamic. We don't get many, like, purely long-ranged episodes. Agumon, specifically, with, like, all up to War Greymon. A Tai and Agumon probably do warrant a comeback, I guess, if we're being generous, but I don't really care. I don't really want him to come back. Red? No. Doesn't need to come back. Bayonetta definitely warrants a comeback because she's got so much more to talk about now, but I don't really think I need it. Like, I don't think I need Bayonetta back. Bowser, absolutely go to the top. Ganondorf, no. I guess I'm okay with some of his matchups, but nowadays I'm just like, don't really care enough. And Dracula definitely tackles all I'd need more, all I'd want more. Ugh, all I'd want from a Ganondorf episode. Jak and Daxter, we're going don't care. And with Ratchet and Clank, I don't know them well enough to be able to say for certain if they warrant it. Flash, Barry Allen, no. I love Barry Allen, but if you're going to do Flashes, definitely do other Flashes. That's what they've been doing with Eobard and Wally. If you're going to do more, do Jay Garrick. Quicksilver, no. Joker is definitely where I think he warrants it. I would like to see him, because there's so much random shit they could bring up and show in the fight. Don't tell me I got the hiccups now. But I don't care about any of his matchups. I don't care about versus Green Goblin. But yeah, he warrants it. I think it would be cool, but I'm not dying for it. Sweet Tooth, or Needles Cane. Solidly do not care. Carolina. Carolina and Meta probably... Oh. It just... Okay. Probably both go in the... I don't really want them to come back, but they definitely warrant it, because Red vs. Blue deserves to have an episode not against itself. Steam Summer Sale in your wallet, go here. Cammy White. No. Don't really need her back. I don't think she warrants it. Same with Sonya. Scout is probably one where it's like, he probably deserves to come back, but I don't know him well enough to be able to say... Like, I know he definitely warrants it, because he definitely got done dirty, but I don't really care if he comes back or not. Tracer, don't care. I feel like with Overwatch, it has a ton of characters to my knowledge that definitely warrant it more characters in TF2 at least. I guess you could argue putting Scout here too, from that perspective, but like, yeah, I don't think they did Tracer dirty to my knowledge. Ken, yeah, I'd like to see Ken back. I love Ken, but there's definitely doesn't need to come back. This is just a pure bias decision. He doesn't have any matchups I like. Terry, I don't know you well enough, buddy. Yet. Amy? No. Ramona? No. I think Amy doesn't need to come back. She's got an episode. She doesn't need it. I could do Amy versus Sakura, but I'm not crazy about that. We don't need another Hedgehog on Death Battle. With Ramona, I like Ramona, but, and you know, it'd be cool if she got an episode with custom sprites that give her some actual pants to wear, but I just bring in Scott. If you're going to do a Scott Pilgrim episode again. Doomsday. Nah, I don't really need Doomsday back. I don't need Hulk back. Doomsday doesn't really need another episode. He's not much of a character. I like Doomsday, but he's not much of a character. I don't think he needs to return. I don't care for any of his matchups. And Hulk, he's got 2 episodes. The latest one really tackled all you'd need to with Hulk outside of the scaling, but if you really want a character back just for scaling, in terms of they didn't get it accurate as opposed to they didn't do anything interesting, which I guess is it's a fine line, I understand, but yeah, I don't care for him to come back. Urza? Nah. Get a different Fairy Tail character. Zoro, don't know you well enough to be able to say if I can just put you in nah. Pinky? No. Lara Croft and Nathan Drake. I'm gonna say that they go into... They probably warrant it. And you know what, actually, I'm gonna put Pinky up there too. She probably does warrant another episode because she definitely didn't get tackled well at all. But I don't want her back. Same with Lara and Nathan. They probably... Of anything, they probably warrant a rematch and just pretend like that first episode didn't happen. But I'm not really dying for it. Scrooge? Nah. Oh, you know what, no. He would go in probably warrants it. Because there's so much history with him that you could probably do an analysis that doesn't mention any of the feats and, like, abilities and arsenal from the last one. And still have enough to fill it out. And, like, he's probably got that much history. But Shovel Knight is definitely a case of... I'd like him to come back because I think we need more indie games in Death Battle. That's a territory they've really not stepped into much. But I don't care about any of his matchups. But he is a fish, to my knowledge, under that helmet. That's a joke where he's like a fish head. So that he's the closest we have to fish on Death Battle, and I like fish. Bane! Oh man, you definitely warrant a comeback, but I don't want it. And you know what, Venom, considering the fact that in both episodes he really just acted like Black Carnage, he definitely warrants a comeback to get him accurate. But boy, do I not give a shit about Venom coming back again. I'm sick of Venom in everything. And Bane is just a case of, I don't like him enough to be like, yeah, I definitely need to come back and fight Jack. Don't care. Megazord? Nah. None of the Rangers, I think, either really warrant coming back. I think they're good. Voltron, I think, is good. You don't need to bring Voltron back. Done. Ace? No, I guess don't care because I don't know him well enough to be sure. Natsu? I'd love to see Natsu back. Do him well. Do him accurate. Maybe don't have a spoiler alert for something that everyone already knew, and do have a spoiler alert. Well, I guess nowadays everyone already knows the END thing with Natsu, but yeah, he's even got a sequel going on. Natsu versus Luffy. Would love to see it. Yeah, simple as that. Glacius. Don't care. Sub-Zero. Nah. I'm not very interested in seeing, unless they did Bihan and they specifically looked at like Sub-Zero and Noob, but then like you would label the episode Noob Cybot versus whoever he fights, probably Reaper. You would label it as Noob Cybot. You wouldn't label it as Sub-Zero. That'd be weird. Android 18. No, I don't think she needs to come back. If you're gonna do an Android, bring in 17 instead. Captain Marvel, she's got 2 episodes. Both are okay. Both tackle her fine. I don't think she warrants a comeback. Metal Sonic. So here's the thing, I do like Metal Sonic vs. Base, but it's a case of like, I like the matchup, I'm not begging for it to happen, I'm not really dying for Metal Sonic of all characters to come back. And as for Zero, yeah, I want Zero versus Alita a lot. I think it would be sick, and especially because his other matchups all focus on X-Era Zero, which like, that's cool, but I'm a huge fan of the Zero era. It makes him a lot more of a character in my eyes, and that's what I'd want to see, and I think that plays off Alita better than X-Era Zero. But like his other matchups of like Meta Knight, it's like, doing it with Zero Era Zero, I feel would just be really weird. I don't know, it doesn't vibe, and I don't really care about the matchup anyway, because I don't want to see Zero just die like that. Lucario! I love Lucario, but no. And Renamon, I don't know you real well, I don't know you well enough. You probably warrant it. Because you are more of a character than Lucario, but then I guess they did just do a wild Renamon as opposed to the specific character. Balrog! Nah. TJ! Nah. Even if TJ warrants it, it's a case of I don't want them to bring him back, and he's already got a perfect episode. The Shredder! I would... he kind of falls into the Ninja Turtle problem, actually, because it would probably be a... They already did 2003 Shredder for the fight. So I wouldn't... Yeah, he's going to be and he warrants it, but like, I don't really want it because it would be a Shredder that I don't care about probably as their main focus. Silver Samurai, no. McGruff, well, I guess I'm going to... No, McGruff and Smokey don't need to come back. Ichigo... He probably warrants it, but I don't care to see him come back. And the same... No, yeah, same probably goes with Naruto. He's probably got a lot of new stuff now. Mostly Baryon mode. He probably does warrant a comeback, but I don't need him to come back. Beyond in 2099... No, actually no. I'm going to put them in... Batman Beyond and Spider-Man 2099 got such nothing episodes that they probably... nothing episode. Singular. They probably warrant coming back, but I don't care. Sephiroth and Virgil. Nah, mate. I love you both, but nah. Black Panther. He probably warrants it, and I do like him. I don't care about any of his matchups, and I don't like him enough to put him in. I actively want him. It's a case of... His episode was kind of not good, and I would like to see him get to use more than just, like, his claws for a fight. Raven, no, she just got an episode that tackled everything I think needs to be tackled, and both episodes together tackle all the powers I think need to be shown. Twilight, I think she definitely warrants coming back. She's got new stuff as, like character-wise, and she's got an ending to her story, and her episode didn't really do her well, but I don't care about any of her matchups, and I don't really think she needs to be back. I don't think so. Jotaro, no. Kenshiro, yes. Okay, I guess with Jotaro, it's a case of... No, I think they did all that I'd need to see with Jotaro. I don't really think he warrants coming back when you have so much you can do from from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Fist of the North Star is more of a case of there's like two characters that would probably get on Death Battle. I absolutely want Kenshiro back. I like Kenshiro versus Rikio. They're not going to do it, but it's a case of I love the matchup and I want to see it. Jotaro, if he had a matchup I liked, maybe I would be like, okay, sure, maybe. But yeah. Crash Spyro? No. I'm not crazy about Crash Spyro, the episode, but I think that's the only episode you need for both of them. They don't need to come back. Pit? Yeah, I don't really care enough for him to say that I'm up for it, but I definitely think he warrants it. And I think the same for Sora. They warrant a new episode. There's just enough. I don't like him enough to say it, and I don't really... Look, I said it. I don't like him enough to say that I'm dying to see them come back. Or that I really want them to come back, but yeah. Pit, Zagreus I know was an episode. I definitely would more interested in Zagreus versus Percy Jackson. Personally, I just find that more interesting, but yeah, Frank West, nah. Don't need to come back. Leon Kennedy, no. If you're gonna do Resident Evil, either do Chris or do a zombie. Like, do Nemesis, do me. No, don't quote that. Dr. Fate, I don't think you need Fate and Strange. I don't think they warrant coming back. I find Fate versus Vegito really funny, and I find Strange versus, I think it was Reimu from Toho, also pretty neat. Like, just visually, it has a cool-ass aesthetic, but I really think I need to come back. Jin, no, he got the episode he needed. Afro and Samurai Jack, I think, also don't need to come back. Carnage doesn't need to come back. Lucy doesn't need to come back. Amuro doesn't need to come back. Optimus definitely doesn't need to come back. He got an episode that does all I need for him. I don't like Optimus vs Superman. Daredevil, no. Nightwing, if you're doing Nightwing as in like Robin, then maybe. But no, Nightwing himself I don't think needs to come back. Sigma, got the only episode I could want for him. Same with Ultron. I think that tackled both of them as well as I'd want. Same with Jiraiya Roshi. I don't think there's anything I want to see more with them. Same with Darkseid Thanos. I think it tackled all I'd need to see with them. Aquaman... I love Aquaman, but I definitely think he got done pretty good in his episode. And Namor didn't, but I don't care enough about him. Mega Man EXE... I think with these ones who have only been in the Battle Royale, I'm going to put in Mega Man EXE, Geostellar, Volnut, and X into... They probably warrant it. I don't care enough to say that they definitely need a comeback in the future, but they probably warrant it because they've only been in a Battle Royale, and like that was a cool episode, but I would like to see them get their own episodes like the way Mega Man did. they're classic. I guess I can't just say the way Mega Man did, because they're all Mega Man, but the way Classic did. Black Widow, nah. Same with Widowmaker. Shazam, I love Shazam He-Man, but he is definitely bringing it down, because I don't think he needs to come back. We got Black Adam, who is basically the same character in terms of his power set. So while his story is very different, and his character is obviously very different, their powers are the same. Both episodes kind of showcase that they're not going to use any of Shazam's weirder powers, I don't think. They're just going to make him the punchy guy, which, to be fair, is all you really need against He-Man. I'm not terribly interested in Shazam coming back. If he did, and it was against He-Man, I would probably be a little excited. But, yeah, I'm not dying for it. DDD! Nah. Wario! Nah. I think they got all I need from them in their episode. Ben 10. See, the problem is I would like to see Ben 10 come back and use more of his aliens. I think he warrants coming back just because they barely use his aliens. But I also know for a fact that it would still just come down to Alien X, which is super lame. With Hal Jordan, it's like if they're going to bring a lantern, if they're going to do another lantern, do a different lantern. There's so many different lanterns, so many different colors of lantern. You don't need to do another green one, and if you did, it doesn't need to be Hal. Mitsuru, I don't know you well enough. Weiss, you don't need to come back. You got basically all I'd want for an episode with Weiss in it. So yeah, you're good. Captain Falcon, I don't think he needs to come back. Same with Johnny Cage. I don't think there's anything I would want tackled differently. This is where being a new episode does matter, because they just tackle the characters better than the old ones. Aang, I would love to see Aang come back, but I don't like any of his matchups. And I think Edward Elric is also a case of, I can't say I know him well enough to say I want him back, but he definitely warrants it. I guess don't want is maybe a strong word, but like, I guess I'll change it to don't care, but probably warrants it, and I'll change don't care to don't know enough to care. So, they're going to seem similar, but if you watch the video, I guess you'll understand where I'm coming from. Ghost Rider, you definitely come back, fight, spoil. I'm gonna actually put Ghost Rider as Shazam, because it's gonna be the same case as why He-Man and Shazam are separate. The same reason why Spawn and Ghost Rider are separate. Spawn, I think, absolutely warrants a comeback. Ghost Rider, I think, was actually tackled fine outside of the scaling. I think character-wise, they did him fine. I think his animation was cool. Yeah, I think they did Ghost Rider fine. But, you know, I would like to see him versus Spawn. Lobo. Honestly, nah. I think everything I want in a Lobo fight is basically in Ghost Rider. At most, I'd want to see a DBX between Lobo and Wolverine, because I think it would go hard and it'd be really funny. Dragon Zord? No, I don't need that specific thing back. Kiryu. I like Kiryu versus Ava Unit 1, but it's not like I'm going around begging for it. And Akane, no. She's not... I guess I'll put Akane with Kiryu, because she is the pilot, but it's like, I'm not looking for a Akane-specific matchup. Hiei! I like Hiei from what I've seen of Yu Yu. Probably just nah, though. I don't think Hiei or Sasuke need to come back. I think like everything he needs in that episode, even if it's not a great episode. Same with Dracula. No, not same, because Dracula's episode is amazing. But I don't really think he needs to come back. I think if you're going to do Castlevania, just flip his name around and do that character instead. Same with Mob and Tats... Oh, nah. I like Tatsumaki versus Endeavor, but not as a death battle, as like a DBX. The Mask. He probably warrants it, but I don't care enough to want him back. All Might, no. His All Might and Might guy, their episode's perfect. Honestly, same with Miles and Static. I think their episode is fantastic. You don't need to bring him back for any reason. Black Canary's episode is not fantastic, but I don't care enough about her or Sindel to have them come back. I don't think they warrant it either. Just a shit animation is not enough to warrant it. Usually. Unless you're Beast and Goliath, where the animation completely fucks you up. Genos? I honestly do think Genos is warranted to come back, because his episode definitely didn't tackle anything about him particularly well, but I don't like any of his matchups, and I don't care enough about Geno specifically to have him come back. I think if you're going to do One Punch Man again, do Boros, maybe do Moomin Rider, do Garo. You have many options before needing to bring Genos back. War Machine, though, yeah, you got the... Oh. Nah, I do really like War Machine versus Iron Man, but Ironhide. War Machine versus Iron Man would be stupid. War Machine versus Ironhide's cool, but I'm not begging for it. Esdeath, nah. Gray, nah. They probably do warrant a comeback because they weren't really done well in the fight. But analyses are okay. And Esdeath definitely is not coming back on her own against anyone. Oh, they could do Esdeath versus Satsuki if they're stupid, but no. Goro, Machamp, both done really well. I don't think they need, especially Machamp doesn't need to come back. Booster Gold and Cable, I think they tackled them extremely well. They don't need to come back. Kakashi, nah, because Kakashi's other matchup is Gojo, and Gojo's already been on. Is Kakashi Urahara still a thing? Yeah, I don't care. Obi-Wan, I also don't think he needs to be back. I don't think Danny or Jake need to come back. She-Ra, nah, I don't think She-Ra needs to come back either. Everything you would want, everything they did wrong with She-Ra is like a scaling thing, and if you wanted that, just bring He-Man back instead. Because he has other stuff they could do better too. Beerus, I think, was tackled perfectly. Galaxy was tackled perfectly. Todoroki, I think Todoroki and Zuko were done fine. I don't need them to come back, even if I don't like the episode much. Archie, Sonic, no. Wally, no. Billy Butcher is definitely, I'm going to put him in. I don't like any of his matches. Actually, I like Billy enough to be like, I would like him to come back. I don't really care for any of his matchups. And I think I can put most of the boys' characters out. Homelander is the one where it's like, nah, he doesn't need to. Wait a minute, no. I do like Homelander Hancock. I love Homelander Hancock, but I'm not really begging for Homelander to come back. But the others, I don't care for A-Train versus Ida. It's interesting, but it's a case of I don't care enough. Queen Maeve, she probably warrants it, but I don't need her back. Starlight, probably. Please grab her. Wait, that sounds wrong. Doesn't warrant it. The Deep, though, oh. I'm gonna put him in here because I like Deep versus Deep Sea King as a joke matchup, but I'm not begging to see him. Red Hood? Nah, Red Hood Winter Soldier does everything I need. It only fails in the conclusion, and the analyses aren't amazing, but I don't think that those alone warrant bring either back for what will definitely be a worse episode. Krona, I think Krona warrants getting an episode that's not mediocre overall, but I don't care for any of their matchups, and I don't really care to see them back. Oh no, I do like Krona Shiro, but that's the wrong place. But I definitely don't think I'm begging to see Krona come back. John Talbane, Saberwolf, nah, they got all I need. No, actually, I guess I don't know them well enough, so for all I know, it could be a case of they were actually done really bad. And I guess I can put Jake Long up here too. Maybe they did him dirty, and Danny Phantom. Maybe they did Danny Phantom dirty, but I just don't know enough to care. Caboose! No. The thing with the Reds and Blues, most of them probably don't warrant a solo episode. Well, you know, Caboose probably does, but I don't care. Church, nah. Sheila, nah. Tex. Okay, Tex definitely, I think, warrants it. Actually, I would just like to see her get an episode, because she didn't get to be a character in that at all. I would like to see... Yeah, I would like to see an episode that actually goes into Tex, because I think she is an interesting character, but I don't care about any of her matchups. Tucker, I actually think Tucker's the same. I would love to see a solo Tucker episode, but I don't care for any of his matchups. Donut, don't think so. Griff, don't think so. Lopez, don't think so. Simmons, don't think so. But Sarge, you're going straight in absolutely. Give me that Sarge versus Soldier. Batgirl, nah. While the fight is bad for Batgirl Spider-Gwen, the analysis is perfectly fine, and I don't think either of them really need to come back. Do different Spider-Man, do different Bat Family characters, if you're going to. Rock Lee, I'd love to see Rock Lee come back and get a better episode, but I don't like any of his matchups. Sanji, I don't know you well enough, buddy. Broly? Nah. I think Broly got everything you'd want for a Broly episode, unless you would do specifically Z Broly, and then pretend like Z Broly versus Azra is Biffweed's favorite matchup ever for no reason. No, I don't think he needs. King Mickey, absolutely not. Do regular Mickey. Yoda? Nope. You got everything you'd want. Ryuko? I don't have a matchup I like enough for Ryuko to want to see as her opponent in Death Battle. I like Ryuko versus Mordred, but I don't want Fate on Death Battle. I'm just not ready for that. But I would like to see her back, because I definitely think that her analysis is not fun to watch, and her characterization is not great. I'd like to see her make a comeback. Geese and Ayachi. I played a little bit of Tekken. Never really played it now. I don't know you well enough to say for sure, buddy, but you're definitely going here. I guess I probably should... Wait. I did put Terry in here. Yeah. Oh my god. All the Fatal Fury characters, like, directly stacked on top of each other. That's nice. Blake? Nah. And Mikasa? Nah. They got everything you'd want in their episode, character-wise. Same with Iron Fist, I think. To my knowledge of Iron Fist, he's everything you'd want. Or he's got everything you'd want. I don't know. Maybe he is everything you'd want. Maybe he's your ideal partner. Poe, though. Nah. I don't need Poe to come back. There are many other Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, there's many other Kung Fu Panda characters to do. Do Shifu, do Tai Lung, do even Lord Shen if you could find a way to do that. Star Butterfly, Steven Universe. Well, actually, I don't know them well enough, I guess, but I imagine they just go in no, because their stories are over. Goku Black, nah. Unless if you did specifically Zamasu, and like merge Zamasu and Infinite Zamasu as your character, that could be interesting. But Goku Black himself is fine as the one-off. Same with Eobard. Same with Kool-Aid Man. Alucard as well. No, I do like Alucard versus Hellboy a lot, but I'm not really begging for it. Dio, you did everything you need to with him. I don't care for any of his other matchups. Yeah. Korra and Storm just go there. Madara as well. Madara Aizen is all I'd want for them. Popeye is a case where he has a lot of matchups people do like and would like to see him come back for them. I personally don't need to see him or Saitama. I think they got done perfectly in analysis and fight. Harley Quinn, I just don't want to see Harley Quinn in anything anymore. I'm good. Same with Jinx. Well, no, Jinx I have nothing personal against. I don't know her well enough, I guess, so maybe she was done really bad. Scarlet Witch and Zatanna. Don't care for their other matchups. I think they were both done fine analysis-wise. There are other cosmic characters from those series to do instead. Jonathan, I'm surprised they got as much out of him as they did for that analysis, given how much he is as a character. I don't think he needs to come back. Tanjiro is a case where I definitely don't know him well enough. I imagine he goes in, he's probably warranted, because I imagine they didn't go into, like, most of his story. Like, they definitely didn't. They definitely felt like there was a lot out and, like, not in there. But I don't know enough to care. But he probably does warrant it. He probably warrants it. Like, I know he warrants it, actually, because they definitely didn't tackle most of his character. And it definitely feels like there was a lot missing. Like, character-wise and story-wise. Omni-Man. Do I like Omni-Man Bardock enough? No, I don't know. I don't like Omni-Man Bardock enough to say that I absolutely want it. But it's a case where I want to see Omni-Man back. I want to see him tackle his character, like, overall. Because they definitely didn't. Which I understand why they didn't. But, like, as Invincible goes on, I would like to see them really go into the character he shows in the comics once that's adapted into the TV show. And having him have a proper fight would be cool too, because I would like to see Homelander have a proper fight, but at least the difference is that Homelander doesn't tend to have proper fights. But with Omni-Man he does, and it would be cool to see. Magneto, nah, they did Magneto and Tetsuo perfectly. There's literally nothing to be improved there. Heracles? No, I don't like Heracles Maui enough to put it in, like, yeah, I would like to see that. It's just, it's going to be a case of, nah, same with Sunim Hung. The Predator. I think the Predator warrants a comeback. they didn't really talk about any of like the really interesting stuff with Yautja Society and really anything about Yautjas at all. So beyond the honor system, which is like very basic, but I'm not like dying for the Predator to come back. Excalibur, I do not know you well enough to give a shit. Bond? I like Bond-Born. I still like Bond-Born. It's like, it's the rivalry that I've always known, so I will always like it, but I don't think he needs to come back. And John Wick definitely doesn't need to come back. They tackled him basically perfectly. Apocalypse? Nah. Black Adam? I like Black Adam versus Doctor Doom, mostly just for Black Adam, but I definitely don't think he needs to be back. Xenosilver. You're gonna be, my friend, a solid nah. Same with did I say Xenosilver? Archie Silver. Same with Archie Trice. He could go nah. SpongeBob? I don't know enough to care. Super Friends Aquaman? No, you definitely don't. You barely needed an episode on its own. Jason? The thing with Jason, everyone likes the analyses for Jason and Michael, but they really didn't really do a lot with them. They really didn't do a lot with them. I definitely can't say I care enough to want them back, but they definitely warrant an episode that goes into them more story-wise, and especially Michael, where they bring up the Curse of Thorn and then just never elaborate on what it actually is. Like, there's a lot they didn't bring up, not just for power scaling, but also, like, for their stories that just wasn't mentioned at all. Lich King, I don't know you well enough to say if you need to come back or not, or I guess I like Lich King Nightmare, but you're definitely not part of it, the part of it I'm most interested in. Sauron doesn't need to come back. He got the perfect matchup, perfect episode, flawless. Asta, I'm just gonna say, I don't know enough to care, but you probably warrant a comeback. Deku, nah. There's other hero. His analysis is fine. There are other hero arc characters that probably deserve it more. Gogeta, I like versus Omnimon, but I'm not really dying for you. And Vegeta, you can go straight to hell. That's a bit harsh. Ruby, Marker, and Soul have not been in the series yet, and when they do get on, I doubt I think they'll do them well enough that I won't want them to come back. Ant-Man and Adam, your analyses are fantastic, honestly. The more I watch them, you're in exactly the same pose when it's cropped like this. You don't need to come back. Dark Souls, or the Chosen Undead and the Dovahkiin specifically, I don't think need to come back. Dark Souls specifically, there are probably other characters you could do, and for Elder Scrolls, there's definitely other characters you can do. Killua and Misaka, I just don't know you well enough, fellas, to say for certain whether you were done good or not. Rocket, I don't need back. Same with Stitch, I think they've been done fine. Same with Obito. Phoenix probably warrants it for the fight, but I think Phoenix probably warrants a comeback if there was a matchup that was worth it. Well, no, the script is fine for Phoenix Raven. It's just the editing that's not good. Dimitri, don't know you well enough. Martian Manhunter, no, and no for Silver Surfer, no for Bill Cipher. Discord, I don't think Discord warrants a comeback, no. Alex and Cole. Cole's analysis is bad enough where it's like, he probably warrants it. Alex at least has an alright ending. No, I'm just gonna put them in nah, actually, because like their matchup is each other. Like, whether they warrant it or not, there's never a situation I'm gonna want them to fight anyone else. Frieza and Megatron, I don't really need either back. Gojo, I don't know well enough to care. Same with Makima. Same with Courage. Scooby, definitely, I don't think warrants coming back. Rick, I don't know well enough to care. The Doctor, I really like Doctor versus John Constantine, but I definitely don't think he needs to come back at all. Galactus, nah. And Unicron, nah. Their matchup is each other. And of course, Tom and Wily. Their episode's not out yet. Can't say for certain. Okay, that was quick as an ending. here's my list. I thought there would be less that I would absolutely want, but we have Samus for Samus versus Master Chief or Samus versus X, Shang Tsung for Shang Tsung versus Kefka, Kratos for several of his matchups, I guess, Spawn for versus Ghost Rider, Doomslayer and Chief for versus each other, and Chief for versus Samus, Eggman and Bowser for versus each other, Pikachu specifically as Ash versus Yugi, He-Man for He-Man versus Shazam, Bucky, probably for Bucky versus Space Usagi, I would love to see that, Mewtwo for Mewtwo versus Black Lord Greymon, Captain America for Cap versus Kamen Rider Ichigo, Scorpion for Scorpion versus Wolf or Yoshimitsu, Guts for Guts versus Claire, Nightmare for Nightmare versus the Lich King, Wolverine for Wolverine versus Big B Wolf, Dante, Natsu for Natsu versus Luffy, I nearly said versus Ace, that I don't want a rematch, Zero for Zero versus Battle Angel Alita, Kenshiro for Kenshiro versus Rikio, and Sarge for Sarge versus Soldier. For the ones that I would want but don't have a matchup for, don't have a matchup I like for Chun-Li, Metal Face definitely, the more I learn about it, seems less appealing for Starscream, Spider-Man I don't have anything really for, Fox, specifically in the R-Wing, would be cool to see, Luigi has a ton of matchups that I don't care about, Tommy Oliver I think would be sick to see, just because apparently he's got a lot of stuff outside of his mech that would be cool to see, Kirby for Huan, Donkey Kong I'd love to see come back, same with Knuckles, but I don't care about any of their matchups. Don't care about any of Joker's matchups, but he definitely warrants it and I would like to see it. Ken, because I'm biased. Shovel Knight, I guess Shantae exists, but I don't care about either of them enough to say that I really want it, but I would like to see more indie games. Aang doesn't have a matchup I like, but I would like to see him come back. Billy, I would love to see. Don't like any of his matchups that much. Even Stain, don't care about it. Tex, I wish had a matchup I liked, but I would love to see them properly tackle her. Tucker, I just really like as a character. I think it'd be cool to see him get a solo episode, but he doesn't have anything I like. Rock Lee, get a redemption arc, please. Same with Ryuko, but don't like any of your matchups. And Omni-Man, it's just I don't know if I like Bardock enough as a matchup to say, yeah, definitely do that. There's ones that, I think you can argue these ones all warrant it, definitely. But it's a case of, I don't care to see them come back, just because I think they probably warrant it. The matchups I like, Akuma versus Rao, Goomba versus Kuribo, Yoshi versus Chocobo, Luke versus Paul Atreides, Rainbow Dash versus Sonic, Robocop versus Judge Dredd, Folger versus Sector 2, Godzilla versus Ultraman, Epion versus Armada Starscream, Tigerzord versus Gal Gaiga, Raiden versus Yohai Unit A2, Metal Sonic versus Base, Shazam versus He-Man, Ghost Rider versus Spawn, Kiryu versus AV Unit 1, War Machine versus Ironhide, Homelander versus Hancock, The Deep versus the Deep Sea King, Krona versus Shiro, Alucard versus Hellboy, James Bond versus Jason Bourne, Black Adam versus Doctor Doom, Lich King versus Nightmare, Gogeta versus Omegamon, and the Doctor versus John Constantine. Like those matchups, not really begging for any of them for these characters specifically, or sometimes even for the other characters. Just ones that I'm not dying for, with the exceptions being Spawn, Ghost Rider, and He-Man Shazam, where I like them a lot, would love to see them, but not for Ghost Rider and Shazam. Then we have the characters I just don't know enough to care, and then we have the ones that outright I just don't think need to come back, which unsurprisingly makes it the majority. And then, not applicable, you know? Real people like Randy Poffo, Carlos Ray Norris, Justin Bieber and Becca Black, the joke things like the summer sale, the wallet, the t-shirts, and the 5 characters on here that are confirmed, but haven't actually shown up yet, which is Ruby versus Marka and Tom versus Wily, and then Wiz and Boomstick, who even if Wiz versus Boomstick happened, would stay in, would just move up to no. So that's the tier list. Tell me what you think. I'm sure there are a ton of matchups that people love for any number of returning characters they'd love to see back. I know there's like Soul versus Shadow is one that people really like, and Bison versus Rugal, which I even mentioned, Pit versus Zagreus, 299 versus Batman Beyond rematch, Naruto versus Luffy, yeah, Edward versus Joseph, Carolina versus Pyrrha. A lot of matchups that are popular, but I don't care about. So if I don't care, I can't put them up. So is what it is. That was probably longer than I hoped, but shorter than I imagined. Yeah, bye everyone. Have a good one.